Viewer discretion is advised.
Everyone expects me to have this whole journey on how I stumbled upon it, that I've always wanted to be an actor. The thing that motivated me to be an actor was food.
Mandate.
Welcome to Mandate, where we navigate fresh perspectives and nothing is off the table. Tonight's guest is originally from Windiwali, Hurricanes territory, but now resides in Damakimakuru, Okilani. He is a Samoan New Zealander actor who's been on several TV series and also several feature films. TV series such as Shortland Street, Wentworth, and also Spreadsheets, just to name a few. And also movies like Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, Stickman, also Shoney's Wedding 1 and 2, to name a few. But also the man was a part of the comedy troupe called the Naked Samoans and had a stint as a TV host on Tangata Pacifica. Please put your hands together for the incredible Robbie Magasiva.
What an introduction. I hope I can live up to it. Thanks for having me, gentlemen. No, it was awesome.
Oh, my Lord, love it also now. Thank you for coming out tonight. I know it's quite chilly out there tonight, but just to start the ball rolling, Robbie, because obviously you've had a plethora of feature films and been on TV and so forth. Is there been, like, in terms of TV and film, which one out of the two has been your most satisfying and the one that kind of gives you more of a excitement, or like, yeah, man, this is the one?
I'd say I'd probably go, in terms of getting the satisfaction that from being an actor, it would definitely be theatre. There's been TV shows. I think probably the Wentworth was amazing to work on because you got good start. My journey was quite exciting in terms of an actor, and I got some good material to work with. But in terms of enjoying what I do, it's definitely theatre. I did a couple of shows. It was called My Name is Gary Cooper, written by a guy named Victor Roger, and that play it was about a revenge story, and basically me taking revenge out of the whole family that betrayed my mother, which my mother ended up killing herself because of that. But I loved it. I loved the whole journey of it. But that gave me satisfaction. Another show was called Club Paradiso, which is about, I don't know if you've seen that. It's about a meth. He had escaped from prison. He had a P. He had a big night on P and ended up taking these people hostage in the bar and just completely terrorized them emotionally.
Wow.
So, but TV and I say TV and film pays the bills, and theatre for me is where I enjoy my art.
Because why is that, Robbie? Is it because it's just a live audience, live performance? Is it?
I think for me it's because of that. It's the live audience, and I've learned a lot because I didn't go through drama school. I learned a lot. That's where I did my learning was through theatre, and also the material that I got to work with. Because I feel like I'm boxed in the world of television and film. So with theatre, I get to live outside that box and do things that I wouldn't normally do on screen, in front of the screen. And and the guy that wrote it, Victor Roger, I've done most of his shows, and he is one person that's always challenged me. Is that NZ 527?
Yeah, it's delayed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's from Palmerston North. So yeah, he's the one person that's always challenged me as an actor with his material, and continues. And I hope we do something soon.
Oh, awesome. I didn't realize you didn't go to drama school and all that.
I did. There was one point I did. I'd actually signed up the application form and stuff, and I was going to take it into Toi Whakaari. And I was working on a TV show called Skits down in Wellington, and Hore Aipene and David Whanei were working on that show, and that's where I got to meet Dave for the first time. And I got to work, and I was working with them, and then I said to them, I had the application form, and I said, hey, look, I'm going to apply for Toi, and they said, don't. I said, why? You've already got your foot in the door. Keep going. just keep going. Because if I had done drama school, that would have been about 3 or 4 years, and I couldn't do anything else. But he said, you've already got your foot in the door, and that's what everyone that comes out of drama school wants to get, is having that foot. So forget about it. Don't worry about it. So I always thank Dave and Hori for that advice. And here I am, still doing the stuff.
How did you get to that place? Like, what got you into acting?
I'm going to take my beanie off.
Sicky.
Do you know what? The funniest thing, everyone expects me to have this, this whole thing, this whole journey on how I stumbled upon it, this amazing thing that I've always wanted to be an actor. The thing that motivated me to be an actor was food. And I'll tell you, so I got my first commercial. I was sixth form at St. Pat's in Wellington, and I was doing drama class. And my teacher, Tim Gordon, comes up to me. It was actually 3 of us. It was myself and 2 of my mates, Noel and Henry. And he said to me that I've got a casting mate that's looking for Polynesians for this commercial. And asked us if we wanted to audition for it. I said, yeah, we'll audition for it. So anyway, the next day we caught the bus from Gabuni to Courtney Place. And in the bus we were going, Solly, so if you get it, I'm going to congratulate you, man. Okay, yeah, me too. If you get it, I'm just going to be so stoked for you. Because, okay, so we get to the casting agent and we stand in front of the camera, introduce ourselves, and the casting agent goes, okay, so what I want you guys to do is pretend to walk down a corridor. Right, this was, to give you perspective, it was a back to school campaign. There was a time when people, the Labour Party wanted to get guys to go back to school, so this is a big campaign for them. And so the casting agent goes, I want you guys to imagine you're going down a school corridor, and each classroom, right, is a career for you. All right, so when you open that door, look excited. I guess, yeah, sweet. So another door and be something else, look excited. So all 3 of us stand up. All 3 stand up, but stand up there, camera's ready. As she goes, and action, Sully. Bold in front of both of them. Hog the camera. They didn't get it. The other 2 are going. She said, cut. Oh, fantastic. Well done, Robbie. Well done. Okay, that's all we need. On the bus. Quiet as.
No one congratulated you, bro.
This guy changes.
It was quiet as. We're just sitting there, guys. I was just like, you guys okay?
Should we give him a hiding hole?
Okay. Yeah, we were, but we couldn't see the camera. But I ended up getting that commercial. My good mate Henry, always reminds me of that story. So I get the commercial, I turn up on set, and I've never been on set before. It's the first time I've been on set. Walk on there, get my costume, makeup, and then I walk outside to the green room, and there's a table full of food. It was just heaps of food. I come from 5 boys. There's 5 boys in my family. And when food hits the table, good luck. Every man for himself. So I saw this food. It was just like apples, chocolate biscuits, everything. I stood there and looked at this table and I went, wow. Guy next to us, kind of a unit guy who looks after all the cast and all that table, looks at me, looks at the table and goes, do you want some food? I said, oh no, it's all right. You know that table's for you guys. He goes, what? That table's all for you. All that food, it's all for you guys. Oh, okay. And then I thought to myself, fuck, how do I get more of this so I can get the food? So I asked someone, and I just basically asked them, I said, hey, how do I get more jobs like this in case you get yourself an agent? So I went through the yellow pages and the white pages, looked up an agent and called them and had an interview, and they took me in, and that was it. But my motivation was that unit table, was the food. And then from there, it just kind of, my agent just slowly got confidence in me. So I was doing a lot of commercial earlier on, and then eventually got to a point where she would give me auditions for dramas. And then from then on, it was just kept on going and going. So
That's cool.
So
man.
it was that table. It was the
That
food table
table,
that
man.
motivated me to be an actor.
But you what, Form 6? Form 6
Form 6. Yeah.
Bro.
Wait till a man's heart.
That's right.
It's food.
It's food, mate.
Nice.
It's food. That's it. But everyone expects me to have this amazing story about, I always wanted to be an actor. I grew up in theatre. No. It was the table of food.
Are you still friends with those two guys?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Henry's is a good mate of mine. I don't know where Noel is, but it was just funny, that silence in the bus, man. It was, yeah. It was like,
I'm gonna congratulate you.
Bro, man.
It's a cool story.
Oh man, you just sort of sparked a thought in terms of that experience where there's this table full of food, and you're keen to have a feed, but you're not sure, whether you're allowed to. And it just made me think about, I think a lot of us find ourselves in that position where there are things out there for us, but sometimes we think, maybe we're not. And so I'm sort of curious about your thoughts on being in that position, but also how men can find themselves in that position and not feeling like they belong or that they're entitled to help, support, or anything like that.
give me that again.
So
I just
I
get
was too far. So just in terms of our men not feeling worthy or
right.
not feeling like they're allowed to partake in blessings or higher support or opportunities.
Yeah. It's a tricky one, that one. I think, I mean, for me anyway, speaking for myself, it's like that whole experience, it's that ma thing that we have, as polys, I think is installed in all of us, and then having the courage to actually reach out. For me, I became familiar with my surrounding. And then once I became familiar and trusted the people around my surrounding, that's when I had the courage to say, okay, this is how I feel. Will I be able to? Well, I mean, that guy on the table, right? He was there, not knowing, but he was there. He just kind of opened up his arms, right? And I think that's the key as well. And knowing the signals on when to say, okay, this guy is probably going to help me, so I'm gonna go for that. For that guy just opened up his arms, go, Tuli, that's all yours, man. Go for it. And I feel like there's so many barriers out there, and recognizing what that looks like, and then having to just finding a way of. For me, it's community. For me to combat that is my community and familiarity with my surrounding before. I hope that made sense.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
But still, it takes a lot of courage out, Robbie, because you said obviously the food is a funny story, but for you to go back home after the filming, and then go, I look at the yellow pages, I need to find an agent. Like that's ballsy in itself. Like, okay, find an agent, and having no idea what to expect, and you get this agent, they don't know who you are, and you go, I'm just gonna do it, and that's quite rare. Like even now, but even back then, it would have been even rare.
I think I wouldn't be here if I didn't have that courage. I mean, I'm not to say I'm courageous or anything, but the drive for me was the food. That was my goal, and then actually doing the job. That I enjoyed that, and then I mean, I'm thinking materialistic kind of thing, and then when I saw the money in my bank account, I thought, okay, this is how I can get extra money, because back then after school you used to have an afternoon after school job, right? It was either the paper or doing whatever. So things like that wasn't rare. That was looking up, like going through the yellow pages looking for a job, or going down the fish and chip shop. That was installed in us, that was common. That wasn't a foreign thing that it is now. So for me to look through the yellow pages, and I thought, fuck, I got to find this agent, whoever they are. Found the agent, because my motivation was, okay, I need more money. I'm getting money from doing the courier thing, but it's not as much. I'm now getting more money from doing this commercial and having free food as well at the same time. But then as years went on, I kind of realized, okay, I'm good at this. And even when Hori and Dave were saying, look, you're good at what you do, okay? And we normally wouldn't say that. And you've got your foot in the door, so keep going. Just keep going. And just trust your instinct kind of thing. So, I go back. That wasn't foreign to us. Looking for a job, you know. There's no ma there. It was just like that was part of what we did, you know.
Do you think that was part of survival back then as well, seeing our family struggle?
Yeah, but I think it wasn't just in Wellington anyway. It wasn't just Pacific Island kids, or it was also, I had a lot of Balangi mates that we all had after school jobs.
Yeah.
It was a thing, you know, because. But then in saying that, all that family, you know, I mean, we were comfortable, but any money for us, we had to make that ourselves, you know. I mean, I had friends that didn't, you know, they didn't need pocket money or didn't need after school jobs, but I also had friends that had it, but it was a sense of that, okay, fuck, well, he's got an after school job, I'm going to get an after school job kind of thing. So, but yeah, it is a little bit of, I can't put it to just a Polynesian, but I think it was I think it was everyone at that stage, at that period. That
so true. Yeah, because I think back and my first job was when I was 13, 12 at the dairy. Just because I saw one of the boys working there, and he was sitting outside in Pai, loading up the fridges and doing the bread, and I was going, man, I want a job. I want to play spaces right next to the dairy and say, and then I went myself. And
you just asked. That was just part of it, wasn't it?
Yeah. And it wasn't until they got to high school and the girls started calling me dairy boy. Then I was like, oh no, I better go find a new job.
Do you know what? I always wanted to be a milkman. I did the paper run in my neighbourhood, and I always because they used to come down. Oh, I thought they were the coolest guys in the world. Because I used to live in Strathmore, and there was a hill, right? And then I could hear them. I could hear the truck, and then they'll come down and they'll put the brakes on slide, and I thought, oh man, that is the coolest thing in the world. I want to be that guy. Never got it. I was always a guy with the paper, and I always did the paper run in my neighbourhood. Or I don't know if you remember those red bags where you got given. They were used to be in your letterbox, and you put all the clothes that you didn't need, and then so I used to deliver that, and then I did rubbishman. I did that, and that was really good money, hard work, and you stunk like poos. But it was just like, you just did anything just to get that money, kind of thing. I mean, to be in all honesty, I didn't do very well at school, education. I still struggle today to read, and I'm an actor, so I have to work a lot harder. I know so I still have to work a lot harder when I get my scripts. I have to read it a few times before I understand it. But back to school, the only thing I ever did pass was rugby, and then drama. So I did rugby for a little bit, and then I did okay, and then I just came to a point where I thought, no, I don't want to do this. It was just like, I think I think about it now, it just kind of hit me now. It was just that acting, that passion and drive to be an actor, because I actually put my rugby aside. I gave up rugby when I was like I was about 25, 26. I gave it up, and I just said, no, I'm going to follow my heart, to the disgust of many of my coaches.
Because you were quite an athlete in terms of rugby. It was obviously you see a lot of Pacifica and also Polynesian Māori in terms of rugby and sports, and so just you saying that, it just didn't faze you, just in terms of like, turn my back on rugby, I'm just going to go acting.
Yeah, no, it didn't faze me at all. But I also had kind of really supportive parents as well. They understood what I kind of wanted to do, and that's been one of the foundations of why myself, or my brothers as well, are we're kind of where we are, is because of my parents, and being that it's weird because when Dad was in Samoa, he was strict as, man. And then we came back, because I was born in Wali, went over to Samoa, lived there for a little bit, then came back. But I remember the old man just being really strict in Samoa, and then when we came back. But then as he got a little bit older, wiser, he kind of understood that he could see the potential. I mean, he was disappointed as well, but I said, Dad, I want to be an actor. And I said, you do what you think, you do your thing. But I also think that he could see that I could do well at it. He was seeing evidence that I could do well, hence I was getting commercials, and then he'll see my bank account, goes, oi, mahalo. So, so I had, mum and dad were really supportive in that sense. Yeah.
Good, man.
Do you ever see yourself as a trailblazer for our poly actors?
No.
No.
I've been told that, but I don't.
Yeah.
I think for me is, I think it puts pressure on me to achieve something that I have no control. Well, I do have control in some sense, so I choose not to accept that kind of thing because it puts a lot. I mean, I suffer. I don't suffer from anxiety, but I don't need that on top of the not trauma, but the difficulties of trying to waiting for the phone call or doing the audition and missing out, and I've got to cope with that kind of thing. So, but I do it to the best of my ability. And if Polynesian people see that I'm doing well, then that's my contribution. I still haven't achieved what I want to achieve, and I'm still on that journey. So I will get to a point where I know when I've hit it. I haven't hit it yet, and when I do hit it, I'll ring you guys and I'll have a chat about it.
Awesome.
And you mentioned earlier about the with the TV and movies being boxed in and some of that frustration, not frustration, but you just mentioned that sort of scenario. I wonder, has there ever been a time where you've kind of, the motivation hasn't quite been there, or the passion, or even the heart to an extent hasn't been there, and you've sort of considered maybe pivoting away towards something else?
Oh, definitely. It wasn't that long ago. It was actually just after COVID, and it was just after I'd finished the last season of Wentworth. I was stuck in, we were doing season 9 and season 10, and then COVID hit, and then I ended up being, what was supposed to take 5 months, I ended up being stuck in Melbourne the whole year, for most of the year. And then, but luckily I had my son over there. But that being away from my family, and then it was a lot, and there was other stuff as well, like personal stuff was starting to get to me as well. And then there was one point, it was the back end, we were nearly finished, and I had an episode on set, and what had happened was, it's a scene, and I learnt the lines, right, and at home I got it, but in my heart and in my head it was like, no, you haven't got it. There was just one, I don't know, I forgot what the word was, but there was one word that I just keep on hitting, and I would stumble or I'd forget the word. But knowing that, like in my heart, I thought, okay, I've got this, but deep inside I knew I didn't have it. So I get on set, they call action, they turn around on me, and I just could not get it. Cut. Do it again, Robbie. Cut. Stumble. And I had thank God that I had a really supportive cast and crew. I lost the plot, and I just punched the desk, because I got to, I think probably at 10, and I just couldn't get it. Punched the table and stormed off set, and I was just so pissed off with myself. I was like, stuff this. And that's when it hit me. I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do it. I think it was a combination of just being away from home, and also I wasn't happy with what they'd done to my character, and especially coming for a character that'd been there for the longest, one of the longest serving characters, and they decided to do that. And so it was just a combination of everything. And then I walked back on set, and then they just said, look, we'll just we'll edit it so you get it. So from then on, every time I turned up on set, I had this anxiety which I've never felt before. This hideous anxiety of just like, I'm not going to get it. And luckily, I did manage to get through that. And then after that, I got back home, and I just didn't, when I left Melbourne, I said, I don't want to do this. I want to do this. And then I started looking at my mate who's a fireman. I thought, fuck this, I want to stay away from this. So I started looking at Googling whether to be a fireman, because I've got no other qualifications apart from the acting. So I had nothing else. I started Googling, but then I had a word to my agent. And bless her, she said to me, Robbie, you've had a terrible year, right? Take the rest of the year off, take the rest of the year off. And then when 2021 comes around, we'll have this conversation. And if it's still what you want to do, you want to give up this thing, I don't think you should, because I think you're a very talented actor. And if you still want to do it, then we'll call it quits. I said, sweet. So I had the rest of the year just to chill, ride my motorbike, chill with my partner at the time, and just hang out with my kids. And then 2021 came along, had that conversation. I said, okay, I'm ready to get back into it. But they slowly started. If they didn't give me big jobs, it was just like guest roles, because they were scared that I might get to that point again. I apologize for my burping; it's disgusting.
You're right. Oh, good.
So they slowly kind of worked me into 2021, and then. Was it 2021? Yeah, 2021. And then it got to the point, it goes, okay, I'm ready to, and plus and on top of that, I was doing work with my counsellor as well, just to find out where that stemmed from, that anxiety, why I went there. So, and that's the other thing too. I'm quite open. Yeah. So that was the only time that ever happened to me. But I've now got tools. So if I get to that point again, I can go see my counsellor or my therapist about stuff and talk about stuff. I've got good mates now. We were talking about community before, so I've got good mates that I can go to and talk about stuff, real. And then I've got my mates that I just like to have a laugh with, and then it's just a group. But I've got my little community. My mates that I laugh with, they've got my back, but I can't have the conversation that I have with that guy, because we go in depth and we really. So that's been one of my saviour, and also just not wasting time with people that, that don't serve me. I don't want to be around people that I have to work, to please. I've always been a pleaser. I like to please people, and I've gotten to a point that I prefer to please the people that are in my community, not everyone else that are dicks. So,
100%.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah,
Also.
bro.
That's so cool, and just normalizing some of these nuances.
Yeah,
because it's quite foreign to our people, especially our generation. So, just wondering, this journey in these last few years, that in terms of seeking help and identifying certain things in your life. Was it tough to go and seek the required support, or were there people that pushed you into that direction, or was it just how you found your agent, going through the yellow pages?
Yeah, it was a little bit of that. I mean, to be honest, the last 2 years has been really difficult for me in terms, just some personal stuff as well. But it was, for example, when my bro passed, part of my family, there were certain family members that dealt with it their way. The way I dealt with it, I was really open. When people ask me how I'm feeling, I'll be straight up. I feel great. I feel great today, and I am feeling great. I'm not bullshitting. But if I feel like crap, I'll say, no, today was a bad day. Today was a really bad day. Or my ex-girlfriend at the time, she was always there for me. If I felt like shit, if I'm driving and I feel like shit, I'll ring her and talk to her and say, this is how I'm feeling. And if we can't solve it, then okay, I need to book a time for Janine to have that session. But I was always open, and if I felt like crying, I'll cry. That whole thing, I would never suppress what was there, because I think that I just find that's dangerous. So I was always quite open. So if I needed the help, I'll just go and seek it, kind of thing. But yeah, but it's funny because the last couple of years, it's funny. It's probably been the worst year of my life, but just in terms of some stuff that have come up, and also in my career, there was 1 year I hadn't worked at all, did not work, and that was the longest period I've ever not worked. This year I've done one job. I haven't got anything booked for the whole year. So I'm thinking, so that whole thing of going, when is the next job? Am I going to be able to pay my thing? Because people have this perception of actors. Godzilla, you're rich as, because we're not. Unless you're The Rock, then you can say he's rich. But the reality of being an actor in New Zealand, I'm doing well as an actor in New Zealand. I'm one of I'm a handful of actors that are constantly working. But that doesn't mean I still have the same stress that everyone else does, when is my next job, because I get to the end. I just got to the end of the last job I did 2 weeks before we finished. I'm thinking, geez, I got to book another job, is there something coming? And then you ring your agent, goes, is there something coming? And then when your audition come along, you try so hard to try and get that one, and you never get it. And it's funny, the whole thing, see, all the jobs that I have got are the ones that I didn't give a poo about because I was relaxed, and people saw that I was relaxed about. And then the jobs you really, really want, because one, you got to pay your bills, you got to pay this, pay that. They see the desperation. Casting agents see the desperation. So you never get those jobs. So it's, so you get to a point. It's funny. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place here.
That's good.
But the last 2 years has been difficult. But I got to a point. It was so bad that it weirdly enough opened up what you wouldn't normally see, because you were blinded because of you were comfortable. And the last 2 years has opened up my eyes, and it's to a lot of things about me, kind of thing, because I was put in that spot where I've never been before, emotionally battered, and everything from anxiety, everything from worrying about the next job. You see your bank account going down and you're thinking, where the hell am I going to get the next money? And you're just thinking, sheesh. But then, as bad as that is, it opened up in my eyes, goes, oh, sheesh, okay, I've never seen that before. I've never seen that before. So in a ways that pardon my French, but that shithole that you get to, it can be a good thing as well, because it awakens you to see things that you need to do about yourself, kind of thing. So, yeah. Sorry about that. That was
this serious. That's good.
Yeah, because one of the things, man, we have a lot of different guests that come on here, and without the party, we wouldn't be met some of like these celebs. And part of our podcast is that we want to celebrate our locals, but also celebrate people that we been watching all these years. Like for you, someone's like celebrity, but we want to humanize them as well, because people think, oh man, everyone sees the end result, but not knowing, shucks, they're just like us, man. They go through the same struggles as us.
Same thing.
And so just hearing you share a bit of that, man, just like us also.
But we're no different. It's the same stress.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for me, as people see
in the spotlight,
because you're in the spotlight, they have this persona or this thing that, oh man, you're this guy. And I always get that. I hate it. So you're rich as. I said, do you know how much money I've got in my account? Can I borrow some money?
You're paying for the
food. But it's like, it's no different, It doesn't matter what we do. It's the same troubles. It's the same emotional roller coaster. We go through the same thing, It doesn't matter.
If not worse, eh?
Yeah. I don't know what I do. I have no idea. But I wouldn't do anything else. Yeah. That whole thing, that whole thing I said before, it's just like having a job and then waiting for the next job. Yeah. Whether you get it or not. And then not wanting, They've been, as I said before, the last 2 years, man, I haven't worked. I've done nothing at all. But it's taught me to look at, it's taught me to how to cope with that if it was ever happen again, So
it must be interesting as well, just to see and feel the love and support that come in those times of need.
Yeah.
I remember you mentioning one time about the superhero in your life being your mum. And so I imagine that when times are tough, being able to pull on those sources of strength like your family and I know your mum means a lot to you.
Yeah.
But I was just curious about your upbringing with your parents and perhaps some of the traits that you've pulled that's helped make you successful that you've pulled from your parents.
I definitely have to say my mum. All the traits that she has have been from mum. Mum, like everyone else, mum was a cleaner for many, many years, and she was a workhorse and continues to be a workhorse today. You know, she's 71, but she continues to be that workhorse. You know, she would clean. You know, it's the same. You know, you guys know the story. They would clean all night and then come home, and then cook. Make sure you guys make sure I had lunch, and then off we go. But when I was a kid, I used to follow my mum all over the place. So my traits come from my mum. The hard work, I feel, comes from my mum. It's the same with my brother Mickey, and same as my brother, all of my brothers. Sorry, Dad. Dad, my father was, bless him, my father was a dreamer, you know. So we got that from him. He just, you know, he had a lot of dreams, but unfortunately it didn't come to where he wanted to be. But he was always, he wasn't scared to, you know, I mean, in all, the old man, being a dreamer kind of cost our, you know, I think it kind of cost our family in some way financially in period with our life, because he was such a dreamer. And bless him, because I wanted him to succeed. It was just his execution wasn't, he hadn't done much research, so his execution kind of backfired, and hence this is where they are. But, and I don't, and I, you know, I mean, I used to blame him a lot, but now it's just like, no, without your drive to have that dream, we wouldn't have that right now. But and for us, we can, you know, we can control it and do the research, so then, you know, we can achieve our dreams. But so we get the dream from being a dreamer from Dad, and our work ethic from Mum. But definitely Mum. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Pops. I love you though. But Dad knows as well. Dad knows that, you know. Yeah. Because the old lady's got dementia, but she still works, man. She still works.
It's amazing. Yeah. Just to talk about dreams, Robbie, because, you know, there's a lot of us out there. Obviously, there's a lot of men who have all these dreams and aspirations and so forth. And a lot of them, they see a lot of the barriers and the things as to why they can't fulfill those dreams. Yeah. In terms of your own journey, your own experiences, what has been some of the defining moments where you feel like, man, I just know that this is where the avenue, or this is the route I need to take in terms of me accomplishing my dreams. Just some words of encouragement for our fellow men.
Or just following your dream and
being able to follow the dreams, but even in the midst of adversity.
I think adversity is part of it, eh? It has to be, but otherwise, if you have a dream and it becomes easy, then, you know, then everyone is possible of that. But adversity is part of that, because without adversity, you won't learn. You won't learn from, you know, I mean, you know, that's you won't learn from your mistakes, kind of thing. You know, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I've made some mistakes. You learn from your mistake. Barriers is I think it's necessary. I'm not making any sense at all.
No, you are.
But I think, I just think adversity, and it's just I don't. Yeah.
Comes passing.
It's part and parcel of. But I mean, just a thought in itself is just because I know we know a lot of people that have the dream of doing it.
Yeah.
But I'd never know what to say to them, to say, you know, apart from, because I don't know whether what I say to them is going to be the right thing to say. You know, you say, silly, so just go out there and do it. Because, well, that's not enough. That's not enough. But I think it's the not knowing. For me anyway, I want to leave this world knowing that I've ticked all the boxes. And how to do that, I still got the dream of, my dream of becoming, my dream of going to America and making a living there. That's my dream, It'd be the same as B. B's hit it now, and he's, I admire that man and I look up to that man. But my dream is to work over there and make a name for myself over there. But I know how to go about that, I know exactly what it is that I need to do. I know exactly what my weaknesses are and what I need to do about it, and I need to strengthen that weakness. But I also think if you've got a dream, you've got to know exactly. It's having a plan to achieve that dream. You can't just say, "Oh man, I've got a dream." But no, yeah, you can have a dream. Great. Okay, let's write down what that is. Talk to people that have similar dreams, and then just write a plan. Probably a 1 year plan or even a first week plan, because of just putting down to do. Okay, I've got to do research, ask this person, blah blah blah, and then just build that list. It's just having a dream is one thing, but also just doing the work, whether it be research, whether it be talking to people, and to achieve that dream, is to having a plan. It's literally having a plan, and then just following that plan. Hey, shit, you're going to fall. But again, you're going to learn from that. Goes, okay, I'm not going to do that again.
That's cool.
But I think follow it, man. I seriously, just if you've got a dream, just leave this world knowing that you actually gave it a go. There's nothing worse than leaving this world thinking, whether you're sitting outside on the porch or whatever, or sitting on the beach and say, I wish I'd done that. I wish I'd done it. Do it. Just do it. You might fail, but then you'll know, okay, I did it. It didn't work out, and it wasn't my dream, but at least I did it. That's what I want to do. I want to tick the box. I want to tick every box. I want to sit out there with my grandchildren and said, I did everything. I've got no regret. I can easily go now. Go knowing I've ticked all the boxes.
That's cool, man.
That's cool.
I hope that makes sense. Come on.
I'm encouraged because I'm one of those guys that I'm a dreamer.
Yeah.
And I talk the talk, but the walking part is the planning part.
So I'm the same.
It's the barrier. So just hearing, okay, you offer me some stuff that
it's the same.
I need to do. Okay, take the risk.
Yeah.
Do a plan. And our mandate when we first started, we're just a bunch of guys dreaming.
Yeah.
And then Pete and his wife have really pushed us to
But was this the podcast a dream for you guys?
In terms of the purpose, yeah. And there's been many times we'll sat around and go, oh my gosh, what are we doing? But these guys keep on pushing us in. Yeah. And so, but our dream, in terms of the party, our dream is, man, be number one in the world.
Yeah.
Let's sit across,
Yes.
Yeah. And so, but with the execution and the planning.
It's the planning. It's just, yeah. But I also feel like, for me anyway, it's the asking. Sometimes it's the asking. It's asking and not knowing, because what is my next step? But I feel like I know for me, once I know what that step is and I know exactly what I need to do to get there, I'll go for it. It's the hardest. It's like going to the gym. It's like going to the gym. It's like you sit there all day going, oh man, I could just easily stay here. I could easily just stay here. But once after 2 hours of, you finally get to the gym and you're working out, goes, shit, yeah, okay. You feel, but it's just that it's the next. I'm the same.
That's true. You want to dream, have the mean ass body, but if you ain't putting in the work or even following a plan,
that's too relatable, man.
But it's just like getting to that. It's like I'm exactly the same. But once you get there, and goes, so if I do that, email that person, and then okay, boom, and you go.
Is that part hard? Because I wonder if that's a barrier for all of us, that fear of asking.
Yeah. It is. I feel like it is. I'm exactly the same. I'm exactly the same. But it takes me ages before I get around to it. Like now, I'm starting to look at other avenues besides acting, just in case. You know, like my brother's got his first feature film out, and I thought, fuck it. Sorry, pardon my friend. Sorry. I said, stuff it. I'm going to ask him whether I can shadow him into, because he's a director. I want to shadow him and see whether directing is another avenue I can into. But that took me ages. You know, I thought about it for yonks. And then all I had to do was ask. And my brother said, yeah, sweet. That was it. You know, but we built this thing up so bad. Yeah. And then when it comes to doing it and you do it, it's actually an easy answer. It goes, yeah, you do this, do that, ask that person. But make sure you do this, do that. It goes, all right, sweet. But it's just that,
It's true. It's like you said, Robbie, sometimes we create all these stories in our minds. And, self-sabotage. Self-sabotage. And then we go, oh, no, this is why I can't do this because of this and that.
Yeah.
Without even
we build it up.
Yeah, we do.
We build it up. I think sometimes you just need to step off. It's just step off that cliff. Two things will happen. You either land on your face,
or you make it.
Or you make it.
Or you get the food. You get the food. You cut the hand on your face.
You land on your face. Or you land on your face or you land. Or you fly.
Yeah. That's good. Or you say land on your face.
Fly up.
That's part of the acting. The pause. The dramatic thing
goes, wait, land on your face. Okay, what happens comes after that. Or you land on your feet. There you go. Land on your feet.
Oh, that's awesome.
There's something there though, I think, about like we don't want to be a nuisance to others, so it's like that scenario specifically about like we don't want to bother other people, so we worry about like, have I covered all the bases? And then I'll ask, but by then, you know, the moment's gone or whatever has happened. And I don't know what it is that makes us scared to be a nuisance sometimes.
I was talking, I had a chat today, I don't know if you know Lance?
Savali?
No, not the dancer. Oh my gosh. He's got that label, Pirates. Oh my gosh. Anyway, a mate of mine. I had a sorry, Lance, I forgot. But he has this amazing label, Pirates and something. Oh my gosh, I'm just. But Lance knows what I'm talking. But I had that chat with him today about it. And here's someone that is just like, you know, he's not a computer whiz. He doesn't like replying to, but he has just got so much charisma when he's selling. Like, he's doing everything that's ever kind of wanted kind of thing. He's got no fear in terms of just approaching people, you know. He's approaching everyone. And this is a guy that's, you know, he grew up in South Auckland as well. He came through, you know, he had trauma throughout his life, but he's just like, I was actually inspired by him. I sat there, I had coffee when I sat there, but he was explaining to me he had done this t-shirt thing and that's going really well, and now he's tapping into, he's a musician to the musician, and now he's tapping into the entertainment world and he's trying to build this world where our Polynesian people can help, you know, this, because there are some Polynesian kids that don't fit our school system. You know, they learn different, you know, they hear a beat, you know, they function different. So he wants to tap into those kids and help them out, because that was how he kind of grew up, you know. But it was just amazing, this guy. It's just like, that's cool. I was just sitting there listening to him, go, Sully, you are totally inspiring me. You know, he has no fear. But I feel like, I don't know, from watching him today, I just like, you're the sort of the guy that just doesn't even, he does think about it. But it's like what you said, we think about it too much, and then it becomes this big thing, and then we just like shy away. I feel like when an idea of something that you want to ask it straight away, you know? It's just like, okay, I've got this question, I'm just going to ask it. So what about that? He goes, oh, sweet, now done. And then they tell, nothing's going to happen. Two things will happen. Either that person you're asking doesn't know, or say, oh, ask this person, and that's it. You know, no one's going to say, shut up, get away, you know. But it's just that not thinking about it and just do it.
But it makes you wonder, hey, Robbie, into also how many opportunities we have missed because we were too afraid to ask.
Yeah.
Closed mouth don't get fed, eh?
Yeah.
It's true though, hey. It's true.
And so,
heaps for me.
That's my goal. That should be our goal this week. Like, Every time you get, just do it.
Just ask it.
Just ask.
Just ask.
Ask and then come back and
I always wanted to be a milkman. Can I be a milkman?
I won't ask that person.
Nah, that's true. That's so cool. Sorry.
That's cool.
That's mean. It's funny you mentioned education there. So I'm a teacher in my day-to-day life.
Yeah.
And I teach
so
Māori
you guys,
enrichment,
man.
So Māori Pacific, no. But I totally get when you were saying that, like, our people learn different. And so I feel weird when it's like there's a curriculum out there where everyone should be at these levels.
Yeah.
But I know my kids. I see them every day. Some of them, that's just not them. Like they're super talented in some areas.
Yeah.
And so it's, there's pressure from wherever to make sure they're progressing along this track, but you just know this is their path, this is their talent.
Yeah.
And if you can just foster that and encourage them.
Yeah.
It's
finding that way to tap into that talent so then they can, they can shine, I mean, so I found, school was not for me, man. I tell you that. School was not for me. I don't know whether I had and I always blame being born in Wellington, going to Samoa, because when I left here, I could speak English, and English was my only language, and then going to Samoa and having to learn Samoa, and then when I left Samoa, I was fluent in Samoa, couldn't speak English, and then came back here again, and she's like, oh no. And then my cousin trying to teach me English again, so I had to learn the language over again, kind of thing. So it was I don't know whether it had anything to do with it, but from then on, man, school was just not for me. School, there was one teacher that said, "Bless you, Robbie, for coming to school." I feel like you're not going to get anything. But I enjoyed school for my friends. I didn't learn. I mean, I learned something, but I failed everything. It's weird, you go to the exams, Mum and Dad always say, "Did you study?" "Yep." And then you get to the exam. I always remember all the exams I did. I was saying, and just thinking to myself, what the hell am I doing here? Robbie Magasiva. What the hell? Looking around all the balangis going, yes. And then just thinking, okay, I don't know that one, but that's A. That looks like an A. Man. B. C. Finish. And then looking, I knew I left there. I failed that. I failed everything. Luckily, I stumbled into acting and that was my pathway. So, but school was never for me.
You just reminded me about exams. The multiple choices.
Yeah, multiple choices.
And you get to it like, inky, pinky. But I would get like that. And then I would land on C, and then the next one land on C. C, okay. Oh man, good change.
Oh, they're going, nah. I've ticked too many C's. Let's try D. Yeah. A. I knew it. And even when it came into the mail, I was like, how'd you go, son? I don't know. Have a look.
They was like, no, it hasn't come in the mail.
You got an E for excellent.
Oh man.
It's just like, I don't know why. I said, yeah. I mean, I look back and just like,
It's that case, man, Robbie. Fails.
Can you imagine though, just thinking about it, like you were quite blessed to find acting, but I just imagine for a lot of our young people who like see the fails and the bad grades and they're like, they start to think something's wrong with me.
Yeah.
If everyone else is doing okay in school and I'm the one failing, what do I do with my life?
Yeah.
And like, I just thinking about that, it's
that's a hard one, eh?
Yeah.
That's a hard one. And especially on top of that, not having the support. I mean, there's some kids out there that don't have the support at home, that are going hungry. And I mean, I just, it blows my mind on how those kids survive, kind of thing, I mean, I can't fathom that. I just like, it's, yeah. And I don't know what to do. Yeah, I don't know what to say or do to help them, kind of thing,
That's tough.
And you just hope. Yeah, but there's also those kids that don't learn, that don't fall into that that education structure, that have that talent, they have that natural talent, whether it be music, whether it be art or anything. It's tapping into those guys. It's because sometimes you don't know, and they kind of they fall through the cracks, and it's actually trying to figure out who those guys are, and then just tap and bring them out and say, okay, no, this is where you need to go, kind of thing. But in terms of trying to figure out how those kids survive, it's just like, it breaks my heart, man. Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, Jay, you got a massive job. Too much pressure on you, but you know.
But I don't know. You just
Yeah, just you have to do the best.
You have to. It's from a teacher's point of view, though. What do you do when you? Because I'm sure. Do you come across kids that?
Absolutely. Like some of them, I'm like, you're at school. You're expected to learn when there's family drama going on, and somehow they're just meant to sit at their desk and do work. Yeah. I always find giving them the ear, like listen to them, just hear them out. Right. So the kids know they can express themselves. If they have to swear to do it, all good. You know, you just express yourself freely to me, all good. I always find the flip side of that is like I feel really drained going home sometimes, and it weighs on my heart heavy. And it's like I still have to give the love to my kids and my wife and my family and brush it off. But it feels weird to pretend I'm all good when really I've heard this horrific story. Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm still trying to find a way to balance that. It's still an ongoing thing, but it's tough.
Do you have avenues, anything? Like for me, motorcycles is for me.
I did notice you love motorcycles. And I was going to ask, what is it about riding a motorcycle that just gets you?
It used to be surfing. And then I discovered motorcycle. It's the freedom. It's being able to get on that bike and get out of the city. And once you're out of the city, like once I'm out of the city, it's the freedom of not being surrounded. Because the thing is, we live in a beautiful country. I've done the South Island a few times, but it's just like on that road with your music, nothing else matters because all you're concentrating on is riding that bike and taking in the thing and taking in your surrounding. That is my out. And every time I feel like crap, I put my gear on, hop on my bike and go. I used to have a Harley and I used to have these massive speakers there and I used to put my sounds on and I was just like cruise and have my sounds just pumping out. That was my thing. But motorcycle that's cool. It's having it out, especially for what you do. I think for everyone, for every man is having an out and having a somewhere to, when you feel like crap, having something that you can go to. For example, me, motorbike, it could be anything that's outside of your realm, that's outside of your world. You know, something for you. It's the first time that you want to be selfish, that you should be selfish, because in the end of the day, you want to look after you. And it's finding that avenue, whatever that looks like for you. But I think and that would possibly take away some of this, all the stuff that you're taking on board from listening to these kids.
I have actually found the last school holidays.
What is it?
So as well as just feeling the breeze and the wind, honestly. Sorry.
When you can get it. Honey! No.
Stop attacking on me, man. It's going to sound really random, but flying kites. So I just found like on a hill, wind,
that's amazing.
In nature, and just like it's just me thinking about what it feels like to fly.
I love that.
Yeah, it's
cool. I love
therapeutic.
That. Do it. I love that.
That's my new go-to, man. When I need to de-stress, I'm driving out somewhere on a hill, flying a kite.
That is awesome.
In the zone.
Jeez. We did this.
Thanks for sharing.
School holidays, like 5 weeks ago.
Have you always done it though?
Never done it. Just did it 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Visiting my cousin out in Wally, went to the beach, got kites for the kids. They couldn't get it going. Gave it a try, and I was like, man, hooked. Sorry. This is my kite now. I'm trying another one. This is my kite. This is my kite. I'm good. I'm professional. I got this. So I was there for hours, just flying the kite. Get on the beach.
It's my turn. Get off. Come back 6 hours later, he's still there. That's awesome.
Yeah, fell in love with it. So me and my cousin, that's our thing now. We go together.
They get big too. There's some big ones, eh?
Yeah. Jeez. So we're gonna upgrade.
That's cool.
So you could like advance to the kite surfing that they have. Have you seen the kite surfing?
Damn! I hadn't even thought of that. Need a big kite.
They're powerful. Those things with that wind.
Damn.
You've seen them, mate? Those
the ones
yeah.
on the water in it. Planted a seed right there.
That's
cool.
So that's awesome. I love that.
Nah, thanks, bro.
I love that. I'm gonna look out for you. I'll look out for you.
Oh, what's your one?
You gotta have one. What's your one?
My one. Oh.
We're coming to you next. The wife is next door.
Sorry, man. How did you know you were my playlist? How did you know my playlist?
Must be the last aliens, man.
I don't know. I think just recently, it's still art for me. Art and music. Music's always been my go-to. So music is always right now. It's just been AC/DC. AC/DC has just been my thing in the last few weeks, bro. I know it kind of sounds weird, but yeah, AC/DC just
So that's on my playlist.
Yeah, man. And I guess my favorite song right now. I've been listening to it for some time now. It's Thunderstruck. I don't know. It's just yeah. And so it's really can't be done, especially in times when I feel like kind of stressed. But it has been. It's a good question. But it's every time I'm feeling a bit kind of stressed, I just put on Thunderstruck, AC/DC, and cool.
Yeah.
It just kind of gives.
It's having that avenue, man. It doesn't matter what it is, but see, that sometimes it's that whole thing, right? It can ease. So when you say fly a kite, that could easily go the other way.
Straight up.
Are you serious? Sorry. But then you just go, so what, man? What's your one?
Own it.
Own it, man. You just own it. But I think it's important for men to have that escape. We've spoken about it before, man. Men are getting hit.
Bro.
Man, we're getting hit out there.
It's hard to be a man.
It's hard to be a man.
Because what are your thoughts, Robbie, in terms of, obviously we talk about men with dreams and your own dreams, but in terms of our men in this day and age, in terms of the PC and masculinity, so forth, and all these things that people have been talking about men being demonized and so forth. What are your thoughts in terms of the climate nowadays?
It's a hard one to navigate, at the moment, It's just, but for me, I've just got to be honest with myself in terms of I've never come across, like I see it a lot, men being demonized. And I think it's unfair. Yeah, wanted, there are men out there, there are assholes that have, that probably have given men a bad name. But there's what people tend to forget. There's a lot of freaking good men out there. There's a lot of good men out there. And for me, it's just I've just got to be really honest with myself. I'm not going to change who I am. People know who I am. I'm not going to change myself because the society asks me to. I feel like I know I'm a good man, and that's all I'm going to go on. I know I've got a lot of friends that are good men, but I'm not going to change. I'm not going to change for anything else. It's hard to talk about it because I know. There'll probably be people out there probably demonizing me now, but the fact is, I've got to be honest with myself. I am a man, and I'm proud to be a man, and that is it. I know what is wrong and what is right. And that is important to me. As long as that we've got the foundation of what it is to be a good man, I don't care what anyone else says about us. I know what it is to be a good man. I'm a good man, and I'll continue to be a good man. So
that's good.
Well said.
I don't know. It's a hard one. It's a hard one to. What are your guys' thoughts?
I know it's your thing. I'm just wondering. Like we have our ideas and our ideology and our values around what it is to be a man, but like I'm not gonna go out and judge or make someone else feel stink if they don't. If they don't believe the same thing I believe. And I think it's just, as a society, it's just learning how to, respect each other and and stop trying to cancel each other out just because of our views and just let us be men. There's
nothing wrong.
Different. There's nothing wrong.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
We let other people be themselves, and I celebrate that.
Yeah.
Whatever makes you happy. Yep, I celebrate that, and I'm with you. Just let us be who we are. We're not asking for much. I mean, end of the day is this world wouldn't exist without men. In the reality, this building was built by men. And the thing that just flew over us was built by men. Without men, this would be, So,
oh man, you're treading a fine line.
I am treading, but that's
you're right.
reality.
You're right.
Yeah, but people are scared to say that.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, God bless. I'm all for. I'm people that know me. I'm a huge supporter of women's rights, always, and I'll always back them. Women's rights, everyone's rights, but we've also got to be realistic and be real about this sort of thing,
Yeah,
that's so cool.
And you hit it on the head, like you said, realistic. Yeah, we can live in a fantasy world and have these different point of views, but in terms of reality, and you see these things, that's reality. You can't live in a world that's kind of made up of people's ideology or fantasies and think, oh, this is my reality. Yeah. When in fact, when you really look at it, it's not real. Yeah. Some of the things, obviously we got the woke, people think about the woke movement and all that kind of stuff, and then you have the transgenderism, LGBTQA, all that kind of stuff. But Charles was right. We accept people for who they are. It's about understanding people, understanding where
their needs and where they're happy with. I'm all for that. I'm all for that. But
also in the same token, you want them. It has to be reciprocal. You want them to say, "Hey, I get you. Okay, this is where you stand. This is your belief. This is what your values are. Oh, good. I'm not going to judge you. Oh, this guy's a bigot. This guy's a racist. Whatever. And I think this is why we need to have these stellar laws and these conversations, so people can understand. People think, oh, why don't these guys debate? Why don't they ask these guys different questions and so forth? And the whole premise of this table is not about us debating with our guests and all that, and this is what I believe, and this is my belief. It's about understanding. And if we can understand it, and agree to disagree, and display to the viewers that, this is what it looks like when we actually have a conversation and talk, and not go, oh no, and not be defensive, and no, I'm right, you're wrong. And this is how it should be, being civil to each other, loving towards each other, but also say, hey, that's all good. Hey, that's what you believe in, sweet as. But hey, you're still my friend at the end of the day. I'll still respect you at the end of the day. And so I loved it, Robbie, because it is quite tricky.
It's very tricky to navigate through that. I mean, even saying what I just said before, I know people will be saying, "Oh, what a dick," but that's just the way it is. What stems. As long as you're good, as long as you're a freaking good human, you're not a dick, and you're respectful of everyone. Everyone, you have that respect. This should be okay. But I just think, it's hard. It's hard to be a man, right now. It's hard. You've actually got it. There are times where you just have to kind of go, oh, okay, no, that's all right. Hide how you feel about being a man. It shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that.
And yet they want us to talk more. They want us to be more open. And they want me to.
It's hard. It's hard to talk. It's hard to talk. And men, especially, and I think it's becoming like a men's show. But it is. It's that sort of barrier or that sort of talk. It actually makes men not want to talk and tell them. I mean, what are we? I mean, you guys know what's the stats in terms of how many men take their own lives?
It's high. Especially in our community.
It's high.
More so in our Māori men. It's high.
It's high because you get to that point and it's often, it's happening often, and you hear it lots. Even during media, you just think, did that person take their own life? Did that person take this life, or did that person die from natural causes? So it's just. Just
it is. I'm glad you said that, because like you were saying, people you say those words, people will just chop you at the knees.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
We're good men.
We're good men.
We are good men.
Just don't be a dick, but let us hang our dicks.
Yeah.
No,
We're
that's
good,
not.
man.
That's no. I gotta
Edit that out.
Edit it, but just have Robbie go. Yeah.
Yeah, just edit that one.
I was gonna say, speaking of that, I remember seeing a picture.
Uh-oh.
I think I think it was a show called Christ Almighty, and you're in
it was a donkey.
Yeah. With very very highly endowed there. But the real question I was gonna get to was
That was real.
no props, all legit. Okay, cool. That was the main.
No.
But the other thing I was going to ask you was about, you mentioned earlier, and I think it's something that a lot of us can relate to, at least I can personally, in terms of being a people pleaser. And sometimes you just bite your tongue and you just smile and just get through it and give people what they want because you're scared to disappoint or whatever. But when was the transition from being a people pleaser to being someone who is just, as you are, speaking what you feel and being really authentic? When did that transition sort of happen for you?
I'd say in the last 2 years, that's happened to me. Pleasing people. It was the last 2 years of realizing I actually need to look after myself and I need to find people. And because I got to a point where I would be with friends and I didn't have to work. It was just natural. I felt at ease. I knew exactly who those people was. And goes, why is this easier? And then I will be with other people where I'm working to please and making sure they're okay and all that sort of thing. Because this is really, and I started to notice that. So I got to a point. Goes, you know what? I don't want to do that anymore. I don't need to do that anymore. I'm just going to do it with the people that I want to be with, that are in my community, that I feel comfortable with. Don't get me wrong, there are other people. I still discover people, I still discover people and goes, you meet for the first time, goes, yep, that's my people. That's my person right there. Not that person, So I haven't locked myself out. It's just I know, even if I met them for the first time, because I want to hang out with that person. That person gets me. And we are on the same kind of thing. So that I've now got to a point where I recognize that, and it was the last 2 years. So it was the last 2 years, and I always remember working so hard to please people, and it's not as intense as what you go through when those kids tell you those horrific stories or those sad stories. But it's along there where you just feel like you're overwhelmed, and you just get home and goes, oh my God, that was so hard. Why does it have to be like that? I can just, I want to be around the people where I just feel comfortable with myself and be at ease kind of thing. So, yeah. But to answer your question, without everything else, the last 2 years, I learned that. It was during that time where I went through that shit time of, was when I realized. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
That's cool. Makes me think about something Peter Alatini talked about, like when we asked him what is self-care to him.
Yeah.
And then he spoke about, this idea of community care.
Yeah.
Because self-care is about you, and we still need that. Like,
Yeah.
just finding outlets that rejuvenate us. But he talked about having a community, being around people that add value to you, and that you're not just zapping out and people are taking away from you, but and you spoke about, you got these communities where people are adding value, you can share, and it's like, and it reciprocates.
Yeah.
So, I got no question, but
I think you also get to an age, I think you start to see that, or I know. I mean, we spoke about it before coming in. As I get older, it's just like I just don't have time anymore to, I'm on limited time here. I'm 51 in the weekend, so I'm on a limited time. I just want to enjoy. I don't want to enjoy without working. So, I want to enjoy it by being around the people that I want to be around, I don't want to waste time trying to please other people that don't add value to me, or selfish as may sound, but I'm just looking after me and my kids and the people that matter to me.
You gotta be selfish to be selfless, like in order to add value to others. You gotta look after yourself.
Even that word itself, selfish. You do have to be selfish. You do have to be selfish in terms of take care of yourself. Not many people do. Just because those things that you do to make you feel better, like motorcycles, that to me. So I am going to be selfish. I'm going.
That's cool. 51, man. Kudos, bro.
Man.
Look.
Still a
skaks deluxe.
So everything hurts. Everything inside hurts, man. Everything.
How's what's because you've ever since we've watched you on the screen, like you've always looked solid. Like how's health and fitness? What does it mean to you in terms of your self-care?
If I still go to the gym, but I don't go to the gym to look good. I go to the gym because I want to stay here for another 40 years. That's the thing. It's me moving, Gone are the days where, I used to, I was the guy that always used to take his shirt off. You go to audition, goes, take your shirt off, and goes, oh my gosh, really? We're doing this? So now for me is going to the gym and looking after myself. It's all about how long I can stay here for. That's the most important thing to me.
It's good.
What was that feeling like when you used to go into these auditions and they go, take your shirt off? It was like, did you feel like...
I used it. Don't get me wrong. When I first started off, I used it because I was the guy that always took the shirt off. Because well, if I'm going to get work, I'll take my shirt off. But that was my early 20s, 30s kind of thing. I was happy to do that, to get the work. But then I got to a stage I was getting booked on. I said, really, you don't want to see me shirt off? Seriously, we're past that now. So I'm 40. Come on, mate. But don't get me. I used it just to get the work. So I was always there. We did a show called The Strip. The
Strip, yeah.
So that show put me off chicken breast for life. Because we were on a diet. We were on a hardcore diet. It was all about strippers. Because we turned up on this thing. We turned up on this. We did this production, and we went. I wasn't reasonable. No, actually, I wasn't in shape. I wasn't bad, but I wasn't in shape. And then we had like some ridiculous amount of time to get into it. And being a New Zealand production, they didn't believe. Well, like we approached them and said, we need a personal trainer. We need special food. So and they said, whatever, we'll give you a gym membership. The rest is yours. And I said, and you expect us to look cut? But for our vanity and ego, we thought, no, we got to do this. So it was just like chicken breast, egg whites, broccoli, the whole time, protein, training every day. And that was the stage where I just used to take my shirt off. It actually because of strip, my career, I was always the guy that goes, "Oh, take your shirt off, take your shirt off." And then we did this thing, and we were cut. We were in real good shape after the shoot, and then it only took me like 3 weeks to put it all back on and more. And it was just like, this is no way to do it. But that put me off. I don't know. That was randomly said that, but that's what put me off chicken breast for life. Never again. I don't know why we went there. I didn't even know.
No, but I like that. I remember watching The Strip.
Sorry.
But because it's interesting, because it was ever a time, Robbie, when you felt like you were typecast because of The Strip and definitely having to take off your shirt, and because I know it can be quite cutthroat in terms of the film industry and so forth. And if so, how did you deal with it? Like, what the heck?
I think if you're starting off, you just go with it, because it's work. If I was known as the guy that took the shirt off, I'd get roles, and then where, there'll be a scene, And they'll always add, some that always said, oh, and then Robbie's character takes his shirt off kind of thing. So you just roll with it. For me, it was just all about getting the work and say, yep, yeah, I'll do that. And you have to, if you're starting off and trying to get a name. And then you just got, when you've established, and then you say, no, I don't want to take my shirt off. You know? Get that guy to take his shirt off. Look how cut he is, you know? But it was like, it was just part of the game, and you played it, and you just go with it. You just go with it until at that point we said, nah. Or they look at you because, nah, yeah, you're too old, put your shirt on, kind of thing. But you just roll with it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it got me the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll ever see Neka Samoans again?
I'm hoping. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping. I've had, I'd really like us to do one more theatre show just to finish everything. Mm-hmm. The last show we did on stage was the magic show that we did at Civic for the Auckland Festival a couple of years ago, which was in collaboration with Conch, which is theatre company down in Wellington. And it was it was Naked Samoans doing magic, basically. It was an amazing show, and we loved it. But I feel like we need to finish off being the Naked Samoans. Originally, the Naked Samoans were, as you know, probably Shim Powell, Elisi, Mario Ngawa, David Fane, and Oscar Kitely. So, and when they performed, they had no props, no nothing.
Wow.
You know, and just one couple of lights. And I want to finish the Naked Samoans, being our last show, being the same thing. No props, nothing, just naked with Samoans. But those guys are busy, and it's a nightmare trying to get us all together to do this. I mean, I mentioned it to the boys, and I'd love to do it with them. So that's, yeah. So to answer your question, yes. When? Don't know. But, yeah. It'd be nice just to finish off, just to sign off and say, that's us.
Yeah.
So cool.
You know? But those guys are amazing. I always remember Dave asking me the first time to be part of it. We were actually working on the strip when Dave approached me to be on the Naked Samoans. So I said, Sula, man, it's a privilege and honour to be stoked. I love it. The thing is, one of the things that I enjoy about acting also is my experience with the Naked Samoans on theatre, you know. It's spending that time, like 2 weeks or 3 weeks rehearsing. It means, because we're all so busy, we hardly ever see each other. But if we're in that space, we just get to hang, and it's just us, just taking the piss out of each other, just laughing. I remember the first rehearsals I had with them. I came out of there doing an ab workout, because I was laughing so much. But it was just like, and I became instantly kind of in tune and connected to those guys. Would you know, and part of my another guy, and out of the boys that are part of my community as well. But
surely you must have some interesting stories, some funny stories, Robbie.
Oh, what's an interesting? I suppose the only interesting one, two. The last show we did was called before the magic show. We did one guy, Naked Samoans Go Home, and one of the scenes in that it was all the Naked Samoans. We were playing guitars and singing the song, and we had a guy, Jerome, bless him, Jerome Liotta. He lives in Wellington, and because none of us could play guitars, he taught us the chords to play, but he used to tune all our guitars. And so he'd tune our guitars and we'll put that, and then we'll get on stage. And we'd be playing it. And there was 2 nights. I think it was a week. I think it was been probably 3 or 4 nights, I think it was. We'll get on stage and we're playing it, and all out of tune. All our guitars are out of tune. I went, far out. What the hell for Jerome? So anyway, poor Jerome, Dave laid into him and said, Sully, you're supposed to fucking tune those guitars. So I did. Poor Jerome said, he did. And I didn't know what's happening. So another night, same thing happened again. Get on, all out of tune, all our guitars. We didn't know at the time. The third night, all our guitars were lined up, and I've come from the toilet, and I come into the side of the stage, and there was Mario. Mario going. and I went, Sully, and he went. All this day's 2 nights. He would just.
He kept on.
But he told us a story because when we played it, he would be on the side of the stage just cracking up because all he could see was just us going. But it's like, and then the other one, I just did a job at Edinburgh. I'd had a big night. We had a night show, and I caught up with some mates from school, and I was drunk, and I ended up doing the show really drunk, but it ended up being the best show I'd ever done. but you know, that's it. But it's just I just love hanging out with those guys. I love it. And it'll be nice to go off with a bang with just one more show.
I don't know, you guys have been so important to the culture and to our community, and especially a generation that would have been watching and seeing brown faces.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, if they can do it, I can do it. And so it's cool having you here, and it's cool hearing the stories. And a big part of our show also is like honoring our guests, like words of affirmation, how much that you have meant to us, because and we get an opportunity to do it here, so we just want to honor you and thank you for. I know when I ask you, like, do you see yourself as a trailblazer, and not to put that pressure on you, but for a lot of us coming, like, watching you guys and watching you also, man, you have been that trailblazer, like, because, man, amongst the adversity, among a time that not many of our people were on the screen, you guys were. Yeah. And you guys did cartoons, you guys did these films and some of the theater shows. And so, I just want to honor you also. Thank you so much for, being that guy, being the one where we hear these old sayings, shut up, Palan. Man, who would have thought back then, man? You know, seeing everyone laughing at stuff that we, like our normal lives. So it's so cool. So not to put pressure on you, but even though you probably don't put that label on yourself, but for us, like in terms of paving the way and you guys doing you and just showing the blueprint for it, and even just sharing, like, man, I still have my struggles, but you also still have your dreams, and you know you're not done.
Yeah, man.
Just want to honor it. So thank you also. Thank you. And I'm encouraged, like, some of these stuff you'll be saying to really resonate with, and I got my like to-do list this week. Okay, anything that comes to my mind, I'm gonna ask.
It's cool, man.
Oh, thanks, guys. It's been an honor. Thank you. As I say, because I was saying to you guys before, I don't normally do. I get asked to do a lot of podcasting, but I saw B, and then when I saw B, because B put it up on his post, and I watched his interview, and then I went into your Instagram, and I was just watching or listening to some of the stories that it resonated with me as well, which is why when you text, when you DM me, goes, yeah, man, I'll be happy to be part of it, because So thank you for having me, fellas.
Oh no, man, it's a privilege.
Sorry, I prematurely did that, and
it's cool.
I know James still got heaps of questions, and your bottles not finished.
It's funny you mentioned Oscar, because I know that you were there when he got his better.
Yeah.
And so I was curious about how important it is, you think, in your mind, how important is it to honor tradition? It's cultural traditions, or just the traditions that have been passed down.
I think it's highly important. I think it's the most important, especially in our cultures, whether it be, all our Pacific Island brothers and sisters. I think it's really important. I think it's the foundation of who we are. And if that's not installed in us, then I think that's where we get lost. And I think that's where our youth are getting lost, is because of that foundation. It hasn't been set. As much as as much as I don't want to be a shining, what is it? Whatever it is that you said. There's also part of me that is proud to be a Samoan, proud to be a Polynesian representing. And there's been a few times there where I've done projects where I think I just look around and go, geez, all right, I'm the only brown person in this room. I'm the only brown person in this cast. And that to me makes me proud. But I think it's important. And I don't think we are at the stage now. At that stage we are losing it. And I hope it doesn't come to that stage. So I think it's in, I'm guilty of it. My kids are Palangi Samoan, and I think they tend to lean more on the Palangi side, those two. So I think it's my responsibility as part of our community to actually wear them in and actually share what it is, what their other half, where the other half come from. And I know that I know as a dad, I've done that. I've done that, but I need to do more. They need to learn more about their culture. I want them to spend some time with their grandparents before they go. Because once they go, that's it. That's half of the knowledge or half of the stuff that I don't know about. That's gone, and I can't give that to them. So I want my children to learn, especially from my dad. He's as much as that, he's done. He's an amazing dad. He's incredibly talented, and his knowledge of our culture is amazing. It blows my mind. So I want Dad to share that with my kids before he passes on. So that's my job as a Samoan to pass that on. And yeah, proud. I'm proud, just proud to be. It's funny because it's growing up as a kid. Were you one of those kids? I remember growing up as a kid, looking in the mirror and wishing my nose was pointy like Palangi's. And I used to do that all the time. So, like that, And then I got to a point because I love my nose, because you were, I got it, we all go through that racism kind of thing. So it was like, I just wish there was a point in my life where as a child, as I was growing up, I was like, man, I wish I was a Palangi. I hate this color. I hate this color. I want to have a pointy nose because my friends have pointy nose and they're accepted. But now it's just like, I love who I am. I'm proud of this color. I'm proud of my nose kind of thing. So, and it's important to pass on our history to our kids and loved ones before, That's why people didn't, is that, there was that time where people started to change their Samoan name into Palangi name because because it was mispronounced kind of thing. Yeah. So all those things, it's just like, I think about it now because, stuff that I'm proud. I'm just proud to be Samoan. I'm Samoan. I'm freaking proud of it. I'm proud to here to represent all my Polynesian brothers, whether it be Tongan, Hawaiian, everyone. That's just
so cool.
Yeah,
it's cool.
You can tell you're proud because you just Google your name and it goes proud Samoan New Zealander.
Yeah.
Or even in your bio, so it's cool.
Something about that though, like it's such a journey to get to that point where you can accept it. Because I think similarly, I grew up where I was the only brown guy in the circle, and I was like, at first I was like, oh cool, I'm I'm happy to be the token because at least I'm accepted.
Yeah.
But you sort of get to a point where you start to question, like, man, why am I being asked to do all the karakia or the prayers all the time?
Yeah.
And you start to almost resent being the only brown guy there. And so it's a balance between being why is it only me that's being asked to do the stuff versus the other side. And I think you touched on representing when you're the only one. And it's like, I'm proud. Yeah, I am the only brown one here, but I'm representing not just me, but it's... So I just thought it was cool that you sort of touched on that and just brought that thought to my mind.
I love to represent when it comes to those things, but I'm terrible. But that's something I need to learn. I love it when we go to when I think we went to a close friend's funeral, and one of the boys got up and spoke in Samoan, and I was like, and then another friend of ours, Māori boy, got up and did the same thing, did the karakia and all that, and I was like, I want to do that. I want to be able to do that, because they asked me, I said, I can't do that. give it to Joe kind of thing, you know. But I want to get to that stage where I can do that. But so it's also as much as it's my responsibility to show my kids our culture. It's also my responsibility to actually ask my father to teach me that, you know. So it's cool.
And how difficult is that, juggling everything that is going on in life and then finding time where you can actually grab that knowledge, make it make sense for you, and then like bring that wraparound support for your kids?
I think in terms of me moving forward is probably, I'd probably want to do, if I wanted to learn from my dad, I think I need to go. I definitely, because I live in Samoa, I definitely need to go over there and just sit with him spend a week with him and just talking, because my dad for a long time, we used to have this running joke. It's like to all our friends, I said, Sully, don't get in the trap. And the trap, what that usually means is when dad starts talking, you cannot get out.
You're trapped.
You are trapped. So now I want to go back to Samoa and being caught in that trap and actually accept it and live in that, because I think there's definitely something. For me, it's just like, I had this mechanism where I said, Dad's going on again. So automatically I just put it up. And if I go back when I go back to Samoa, I need to just like relax, let that down, and just absorb what he has to say. Because I've heard the old man talk, and he's like, yeah, man, okay, I get you. Yeah, all right, you're wise. Whatever.
It's beautiful, man. Yeah. Hey, also, you don't mind if we run it back to your brother Pua? Yeah, and it's up to you. You can say, hey, I don't want to talk about it, but in terms of your brother passing away, in terms of, I'm curious to find out in terms of how much of an impact, or how much did it impact you in terms of whether it be healing, whether it be in terms of finding answers, and all those things that are unanswered out there, and you think, man, why? Was there a sense of, I guess you could say, a sense of helplessness, or did you even have an inkling as to what your brother was going through? Also,
as you probably know, from my perspective, I had no inkling at all, none at all. My brother and I, Paul had really close friends that he confided in. I wasn't one of those, you know. So in terms of knowing where he was emotionally, I mean, I had a sense in terms of, I didn't have a sense in terms of what he was going through, in terms of where he was, the demons that he had, but I saw how he was with his wife. So I got to, that was the only bit that I saw in terms of how they kind of clashed. But in terms of everything else, I had no idea, none whatsoever. So for me, it was the whole time was asking, why? Why didn't you ask me? Why didn't you ask me? But I answered that with, well, I probably wasn't giving out signals that so he could trust me to tell me. Because that was my question the whole time when it happened. It says, why didn't he tell me? Why didn't he talk to me? But for me, it was like I didn't give that indication that he might trust me to say those things that he needed to say. Because, you know, finding out later on that he did have demons, and there are other things that played that probably that we didn't know about, that brought him to taking his life. So dealing with it, like as I said before, it was just me being open about how I was feeling, and then seeking the help if I found it difficult when in those difficult times, and just having the people that I trusted confide in them. I mean, the first year, anyone that's ever been through that, the first year is a nightmare. First year, I cried a lot, and uncontrollably cried. and you just didn't know when it happened, and it would just come. It'll just come, and then when it does come, it's just like I let it come and just go with it. It's easier now, but I still feel his presence. There are times when, it's there'll be days that I don't think about him, and then all of a sudden it goes, oh, hey. To me, it's just like, hey, I'm still here, mate. I'm still here. But I made a promise to him. That I'll achieve my goal by, achieve what I wanted to do for him, because I know that guy was the most talented, if not, he was probably more talented than me in terms of what we did. So my journey now is for me and him, to reach the pinnacle, or where it is that where our pinnacle is going to be, where that is, and I will know, and Poos will know as well. So, I haven't really. No, actually, to be honest, this is the first time I've ever talked about it publicly. It was just all those questions. It was why didn't you, and just trying to figure that out. But I came to terms with the fact that, well, you will never know that, and you didn't put it out there that so he could trust you to confide in him. But I also think he also probably needed to seek the help that he needed. And I also think that his surrounding, or the people that should have helped him, weren't the right people to be there to support him. And I feel like those people were the wrong people to be around him, that didn't give him the right advice, or no advice at all. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. Thanks for sharing. Just goes back to what you were saying in the beginning, Robbie. You have to find the right people, the right support.
It is. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, man. Thanks, Oos. And rest in peace to your brother, man. Oos.
Yeah.
Just you share about your brother. Like, I'm thinking about the laugh.
Oh, solid. That laugh was contagious. That guy used to light, and I mean, everyone always says he used to light a room. He did. He literally did with that laugh. And every time, even when we walked on Shortland Street, that laugh, I said, Solly, just calm down, man. Just calm down. But his energy, But I was, sometimes I think that energy, is that hiding something as well? You don't know, is he hiding something behind that? Because, you just don't know, I'm not trained enough to pick up on those signs, but he was, he was a good man. And when we talk about good men, he was a good man. He was a good man, and I get a lot of messages from people saying, "So he did this for me. He did this for me. He spoke to me. He did that." And so, it pisses me off that and I say this, and the press hate it. The press still use his name to get the click bites, and you know who you are. As I said to them before, it's just like, I think recently when I think the New Zealand Herald put something out on him. And I'm thinking to myself, what the else do you need from a man? He took his life. What else? He took his life. So what else? But those assholes don't give a shit as long as they get the clickbaits and the click and so that's one thing that really that's really pissed me and my family off. Is just like, it's just endless. We've kept quiet. We've kept quiet in terms of that. When the media have asked us about our outcome, we just, we'll just keep to ourselves and let everyone else say what they want, and it eventually does blow over. So, but I've got no respect for those media outlets that keep on, no respect at all. So, this is going to be interesting, isn't it?
It is interesting though, because when I was doing the research, I had actually picked up that article, and it came out recently. And
it was recently.
Like, why did this come out
Yeah.
recently? That was one of the questions I had. Was like, where did this come from? And
So we
why?
had no idea. We had no idea because I know. Not long after Pooh's did, they had an article, his hideous article about him, and we didn't say anything, and they contacted us, and I said, no, he's gone. We've got nothing to say. You know, what else do you want us to say? There's nothing to say. He's gone. So we let that pass, and then it was just like I got a text from a mate, and she said to me, "Don't take any calls that if you don't recognise the number." Because well, what's up? And they said they're at it again, and I think, oh man, why? But I think that backfired on them. I think that actually backfired on them. That people say you know, there's only one way. The only reason you're doing this is for click, you know, to get the clicks. But yeah. Assholes.
You tell them straight up.
You know you are. You're all a bunch of assholes. I won't do anything with them. I refuse to do it in terms of publicity. I refuse to do anything with those guys for that reason. So.
And on mandate, the People's Party. Ashadu, so thank you, bro. And man, I hope we. Just thank you. Just you know, stuff you're sharing, and just even like you can tell you still like with all your goals and dreams. Like we only wish the best for you. So
thank you,
you and your family.
Thank you.
And I'm just encouraged that like just as you navigate the space and space of healing and figure out what's the next step. Like, we can only like we always have this connection to our guests that we always want the best for them. And you know, sometimes when we put out content, like people go on, there was comment stuff, and we're really protective of that. And these guys got this rule that I'm not allowed to respond to anyone anymore because.
Why?
Because I'm that guy who'd be like
to step people out.
Where do you live? Where do you live?
Where do you live? When I sent the milkman. So yeah, I'm not allowed to respond to anyone, but I don't know where.
I like to see it. I like to see where.
And speaking of stepping people out, I don't know, actually, no.
What is it? No, you were going to say it. What would you have to say? No, you started. You have to do it now.
I saw when I was like doing the research, I remember seeing a picture of a guy that you were looking to like find someone to fussy him because he had made some threats or talking smack online to your daughter or said something to your daughter. And I remember being like, and you said something about, I'm happy to go to jail or die to protect my children.
When was that?
Like, I can't
It
remember.
was last week. It was last week.
Yesterday.
Was that me?
I think it was a couple of years ago now. But it was just seeing the fire as a father. I was like, oh.
I wonder what. Was it me or Pua?
It was you.
Wait, so what did I say?
You said something about I'm happy to go to jail or die to protect my children, and there was this guy that had, I think he had sent a threatening message or he's talking smack to your daughter. And like, find this.
Yeah. He was a troll. He was a troll. He'd said something about my daughter, and I was like, "Oh, you mofo." That's when my kids get involved, mate. That's for any father, really, eh?
Yeah, absolutely.
You get to that point where you can't control it. It's just like, don't you ever bring my kids into that, man, because you'll get the angry Samoan.
Oh man,
Get the angry Samoan.
Stories to share.
Yeah, that guy was an idiot. He was a clown.
What was his name?
Oh, it was ages ago. Yeah, he put something out. He said something. But that's the thing, you deal with it. If you respond to those guys, that's
you give it the fuel.
It gives it the fuel. It's the same thing with the media thing. It's just like we didn't want to do anything. It just fuels them. It adds fire to the. It's fuel to that fire. So that what I do now is like I just block them. I just block them now. Although my ex-girlfriend used to take joy because she's a writer. She's a writer. She used to take joy riding back to this troll. I don't have that skill. But she would just destroy them, literally destroy them. I just block them now. I just literally block them. But
sorry. Are you involved in the Duck Rockers project?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I play my father.
Yeah. What is your...
All the boys play. All the boys play the fathers of the characters. Our characters.
Are you encouraged by the youngins coming up? Or
I am.
Yeah.
I
So
am.
good.
My thing, especially those boys, they worked hard. They worked really hard, and it took a while to find those guys. I don't know whether they'll whether Duck Rockers will get another season. I hope they do, because those kids were just finding their feet. You know, because I saw them on set as well, and they actually started to be like how we are. They said the naked Samoans, you know, even because I follow some of them on Instagram, and they still hang out. You know, so that bond was built, and I just hope that they, you know, the powers that be give Duck Rockers another go, because those boys will shine. Those boys will shine.
It was such a cool project, and we're watching it. It's cross generational. Like my son was watching it, and I'm watching it because, you know, us and watching
right.
Sione's wedding. And so it's so cool. Hopefully they get us.
I hope so.
Season 2.
Yeah, I hope so. Those boys deserve it, and they were really good boys as well. You know, and they had fun.
Yeah.
But it's funny. It's a hard one for them because, you know, they didn't know each other apart from the two boys. I think they were brothers. They were brothers. But to come into that environment and then try to establish that chemistry that we had, you know, it's a hard thing to do, you know. But as the shoot got on, I started to see that with them, and to the point that when the shoot started to finish, they were still hanging out. Guys, yes, give them another season. Give them another season, because you'll see, you'll start to see. Okay, there they are. There they are. There's the Duck Rockers right there. There's the Duck Rockers there. That was fun.
Siona wedding in 3?
Is that in the pipeline? Is that in the pipeline?
No. I think I actually don't know. I don't know. With the Naked Samoans, I think me from a personal point of view, I would just like us to do one more theatre show. One more theatre show. We tour it here, New Zealand, here, Wellington, Christchurch, and Dunedin, and then LA, and then that's it. Because there's a huge Polynesian community in LA. Yeah. I'd love to see that. So
even Australia,
Aussie, or even just do here, Wellington, Aussie, LA. Naked. Come on. But I don't. Not another Sione's wedding. I think if anything, probably a TV show, but I don't know. But I couldn't see us doing another film. Who knows? We'll see.
Curious about just thinking about Duck Rockers and seeing the youngins come in and playing these characters. I was just thinking about ownership of character in terms of when you're playing someone that's based on a real person, but then the actor who's playing them wants to bring something new. Like, what's that like, navigating, letting them bring something new that maybe?
I think it's up to the writer. I think if it's in tune with the story, hell yeah. But if you're going to be, if the character is strictly about the character, you've got to pay respect to that character and add. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are other actors that add their element, but that's a line that has to be. You have to okay that with either the showrunner or the writer or the director kind of thing. But when it came to Sione's wedding, when we played our dads, like I played my dad. Because my dad was my dad, and does that make sense? Yeah, my real dad played Michael when I played Michael. So when I played my dad, so I ended up just playing my dad. But my dad is more, there was a comedic element to how we played the Sione's, you know, instead of the real dad. I mean, if it was about my real dad, then that would definitely be different kind of thing. But yeah. So yeah, there's always freedom, but it's asking whether you can do that. Sometimes you are, and sometimes you can not. Just stick to what I write down. Yeah. So.
Nice.
So I need to ask Robbie, because throughout your illustrious career thus far, has there been a character you just like, man, this is the character I love playing, a favorite character in terms of your career, in terms of television, theatre, feature films?
Yep. I think it was the two characters that I spoke about earlier on, where I played Gary Cooper, and then I played that character where that P guy went on a rampage. And those two characters are out of the ordinary for me. The fun thing about playing a bad guy is you're free to do whatever, you know. The thing of the bad guy, you're restricted. There's a restriction in terms of how you should play him, because as a bad guy, you can do anything. You can go nuts, you know, you can throw your hands. Perfect example is Heath Ledger in Batman as the Joker. He just went out. He's just like, you know, you have that freedom to play the bad guy. So when I played that that character in Club Paradiso, it's just like, it was freedom. I could do whatever I like, and that's that. What was exciting about that show was, I got to a point, because all my character was I literally just terrorized them, absolutely terrorized all these patrons in the pub. And what happened is, the more fear I saw in their eyes, the more it got me going. So it's just like this: if I see fear and then goes, yeah, I'm going to add more and more. I got to a point where I had to say, hey mate, back it up a bit. Just back it up. But then as an actor, you get to that fine, when you get there, it's just like, yeah, this is where it's at, because you're at that fine line where you forget that this is actually just a theatre. And there was a moment in there I just lost myself, because I got a kick out of making them scared, and the more they were scared, the more I wanted to make them scared. It's just like but and that would have been that character there would have been up there in terms of getting a kick or getting my buzz out of being an actor. Is that that fine line?
I can imagine it must be in terms of that character. There's some sort of sense of liberation. Like, I can just do whatever, I can say whatever, and not be bounded and not be restricted.
But the thing is, with that character though, it took me to calm down from that level. It took me a while. It took me until I couldn't get to sleep until about 3:00, because it was so, you got to that level of adrenaline. You know, which is why those balangis always go for that sort of thing, that adrenaline kick. I got adrenaline out of making people scared of fear. I mean, and I know I'd achieved that because we took that show to Wellington, and my family came one night, and two of my cousins were in the audience. They said to me after the show, "Sorry, cuz, I knew who you were, but that wasn't you. All I wanted to do was run on stage and cook you." So I wanted to come. He said, I nearly jumped out of my seat and come cook you. I said, yeah. I've done my job. That's my own family member saying, so I wanted to come and smash you, cuz.
You don't do any like method acting and all that. What's your style?
My view on method actors. I'm all for people how they work and how they function. My view on method actors is, I think if it affects everyone, whether it be crew and cast, then I think it's a selfish way of going about it. You can still be a method actor, right, but not affect the people around us. My thing is, I've come across one method actor, and she was fantastic, right? She just kept herself, you know. She kept herself and she did her thing. She didn't get in the way. I have a problem when method actors get in the way of how I function or how anyone else function. Unfortunately, the people that cop it are the crew, because they have to deal with it. As an actor, I can step away from that. But I feel like with method actors, they create a sense. There's a sense of unease, depending on the character. There's a sense of unease that comes with it. It depends, and also it depends on the character they're playing. If they're playing an asshole, there's a sense of unease that they bring on set with them. Because they're this person that they're playing. Great, but it also makes everyone else on set uncomfortable. So, and people that will watch this and say, "Oh, shut up, Robbie. What do you know?" But that's my view. That's my view. Do your method actor? Great. Don't let it affect mine, because that's when I will have a problem with it, That's when I'll have a problem with it. But the other thing is about method actors, right? They're putting pressure on themselves because they're being this character. So if you're going to come on, you better bring it. If you're going to be this character and you're going through all this, you better bring it. You better bring it. Because if you're method acting, you get on then you're Gaia. Method actor.
So I haven't even considered that's a possibility that you'd be a method actor but a trash one.
But if one of the Samoan brothers were method acting and they were getting in the way, what would you say to them?
Why? No, I'm very respectful of people's systems or how they function or how they work, but as long as they don't affect mine, I keep to myself. How I prepare is I read the script. I've just done a show down in Christchurch, and I did some research. Because I thought it was they were a great script. It was a great script, great cast, great crew, and it was a great role. So I ended up doing some research. I was playing a detective, so I ended up hanging out with some detectives, just seeing how they function and how they deal with certain circumstances they come across, whether it be those guys see a lot of stuff. It's very similar to being a teacher and having all that burden. And then, so getting that, making sure that was my foundation. Set that, I know what to do as a detective. Now learn the script. And then just go from there. And then just, at the end of the day, we're just pretending to be other people. The writing, the acting's already done. If it's a good writer, the actor, that 70% of it, or 80% of it is already done for you. You've just got to read the words, because those writers have worked their asses off to put that on page. And and then there are some other script that are just terrible, and then you have to, add that. But if it's a good script, it's already done for you. Just read their words, But they've written as magic. So that's, as an act, we just pretend to be people, And I always look. Wasn't it Laurence Olivier? I was Laurence Olivier when he was working with Dustin Hoffman, because he's a bit of a method actor, and he got to a point where he's just like, oh my gosh, and I don't remember the actual quote, but he said to him, he said something like, he basically said along the lines of, God, it's just acting. I'm going to get it wrong and I'm going to butcher it, and so I'm sorry. It says, dear man or something, what we do is just acting, all right? That's all it is, But it is, in the end of the day, we're just acting. As long as you've done the work, the foundation built, know who this character is, know your lines, your lines inside out, and then you can play around with it, then you're fine. But, yeah, method actors... Yeah, I've only come across one, and she was great, and she was fantastic. She just did her thing, but I've yet to come across one where it was just like fun. And I don't know, to be honest, I don't know how I would deal with it. For me, it was just like, dude, I know it's one of those things. If I don't say anything, it's just going to bug me. But I think I'll just say it in the first day. If this is how you function, fantastic. Don't get in the way of how I do things, because then we're going to have an issue. But yeah.
What about some of the scenes or some of the TV shows or even the feature films? Have there been any actors where you feel like, man, you are a stink actor? Has there been so like, bro, you're in the wrong profession.
Wow.
You're in the wrong profession, man. Come on, you're killing it for everyone.
Have I? No. Not to a point where I say, you know, you say, oh my gosh, how did you get this role? Not that. It's just I've been with actors that they've been great, but there are actors that you can bounce off, like you know, you just bounce off each other. You know, when you're jamming or stuff, you're just bouncing off each other. There are a lot of actors when you get that, that's great. But there's some actors that there are actors that they come on set and they have a certain way of, okay, I've got to be here, I've got to deliver it this line. So then they're not open up to anyone else, you know. They're just like their structure is like, he's going to say that, I'm going to understand it, but then I'm going to deliver it this way. So it's really hard to work to those actors because not every scene is going to be the same, because you might throw something, the line you might throw it differently, it might have a different meaning. So it's, yeah. So I wouldn't say stink, it's just, yeah.
Just
just not in tune. Sometimes we're not in tune, but it could be for them as well. You know, they could just say, well, Robbie Magasiva was kaya too. I wasn't getting anything off him, and I'm sure that's happened as well. But yeah.
Well, how about those love scenes? Like, is it method acting in terms of? I'm just thinking like.
I got a great story for you. It was when I did Stickmen. And have you guys ever seen Stickmen? In this first scene of Stickmen, there's this montage of me having sex with this girl, and then the boys playing pool. So you know, like flick the little case with so it's flick. So then the montage of me flicking my buttons and stuff. Anyway, I did the sex scene. It was my first ever sex scene, so I was nervous, and it was the first. We spent a whole day filming that sex scene. And there was one scene where this girl, the girl, slowly puts her hand down my pants, and so in the scene, so we did the rehearsal, and she just went halfway, and then stopped. My guys go, sweetheart. Sweetheart. Okay, all right, we're ready to go. Yeah, roll and action. So she slips her hand all the way down, doesn't touch it, but it just grazes it. And then they said, oh, yep, cut. And then my good old mate here. just my good old, she took her hand out, and then my good old mate here just decided to stand up. So get this Woody, get this heart on. And I'm going, oh my God. So I turned around, and the boom op guy, you know the guy that holds the boom? I turned around, and he turns around, and sees my face, sees my eyes, looks down, sees my mate there. And he went up there, we went, and I went, I know. And then he goes to me, oh, this is bad. And then he goes to me, sick guy. I'm so sorry. That's what they said. I'm so sorry. But it was just like, I cracked up, and then after that, I just walked away, and just my little mate decided to go back down. But that was. That scene was just like, but it was like the first one up. It was the first one up.
First up.
But it was just like, I was nervous. It was the first scene, and then the hand was down there, and all those combos was just like, oh my gosh. And then just don't have no control. And so my mate's going, woo, what's going on here? Oh, hey! But those scenes those sex scenes are hard, man. They're really hard. You've just got to choreograph. When you do those scenes, they have to be choreographed. It's just like a dance, and the whole thing is making sure the person you're working opposite is comfortable, and then finding out where their boundaries is. We never used to have that. We have them. They're called. Oh my gosh, I'm getting dementia. but they have someone now that comes on set and talk you through it. So they basically said, Robbie, are you happy? So and so, are you happy for Robbie to touch you here? And they say yes or no. And say yep. So then you find out where that person that you're working with is comfortable with where they want to be touched. So then it becomes a dance kind of thing. Back then, you had to figure it out yourself. For me, it was just like meeting the person I was doing it with, and then finding out what she was comfortable with or what he was comfortable with, and then just going from there, and then just working around there. But I didn't like doing them. They're just uncomfortable. They're just uncomfortable because you're naked. You're half naked in front of cameras, 20 people, cameras everywhere, kind of thing, and then you're worried that. I'm worried about the person that I'm doing it with, making sure the whole time I'm always making sure that they're comfortable, and the same with me. And you just want it to get over and done with, so then you can, because they're just awkward. They're the hardest. For me, they're the hardest scenes to do, the sex scenes. I haven't done one in a while, but it's just when you do it, it's being comfortable and knowing exactly what the choreograph is, and then just when they call action, go. Know where you are, and then finish. Do it
What's that guy called?
He's a boom operator. Boom operator.
That's the man.
Yeah.
And I think.
What's that guy mentioning those two? I'm sorry. I'm a huge fan of Helen Clark. I'm sorry, but that's what he said. So
that was probably his fantasy. Anyway.
Probably, yeah.
Orcs if it didn't work. It's made it worse.
Bro.
But never happened again. Let's just say it never happened again. Nice. Never ever happened again.
Gee. Bro, man, so many but it has been. It's just been an awesome.
Is this what we're gonna end with?
No. I'm just.
Nah.
I don't know. But it has been. It's just so enlightening behind the, just behind the scenes and your line of work and as an actor, it's crazy, man. Just and hearing your insights, bro. It's just been awesome, bro.
Oh, thanks, man. It's been fun, actually. I've enjoyed this. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. Happy to come back.
Oh, for sure.
Anytime, also,
man.
Straight
happy
up
to come back.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And there's from all the experiences, every time you talked about acting, I couldn't help but it always seemed like there was some sort of life lesson in there. Like you could take an analogy from there and be like, actually that can be applied to like teaching or to being a husband or a father. What lessons stick out to you in terms of lessons you've learned from acting that have helped you as a father, as a man?
Getting control of my ego. I feel like there was a stage there where ego got in the way, which led me to, led me to where I probably might not have, that could have easily, without ego, that could have easily gone let's say, a more comfortable path. But because of my ego, led me to where I am today. Not that I regret it, but I had an easier path. I could have there was a point where I could have checked my ego and then just carried on with, a more comfortable path, and with definitely, it would be my ego that got me to where I am today. Just checking in on that.
Yeah, man, all of that. You know what's so cool, Robbie? You said earlier on that even in the midst of adversity, during the hard times, sometimes you find out who you really are. Sometimes, eh?
Yeah.
I like that. It's not.
It pushes you. It definitely opened my eyes. It pushed me to the point where I was just like, it pushed me to the point of, and I just feel like, me personally, I said it before, I think for me it's just like, if I wasn't in that low point of my life, I never would have seen a lot of things that I've seen now, and I've learned from that, so it's like, okay, cool. But I think I was just blind. My life was kind of, there's a stage there was really comfortable. I was really, for 10 years, I was really, really comfortable. So I didn't see that. But because I went through all that, trauma and stuff, it was just like, okay, all right, And I always think, I'm a big believer of things happen for a reason. I went through that for a reason. I wouldn't have, understood a little bit more about myself if I hadn't gone through that. That would have still been it, and that might have come out at a point where I wasn't ready and I wasn't prepared to deal with it. So, but yeah.
Is it like, describe for us your dream role? If you when you make it into the States and so forth and make it big, because we really believe that. What's the dream role for you? Describe for us? This is the ideal role
to tell our story. To tell our story. A film or a TV where our story are being told, but done properly. That's my dream role. Is to do either a drama telling our story, whether it be a story of how we came to, I feel like the story of us coming to New Zealand's been done. I don't think it's been done properly, or a story of how we came upon all these different islands. That story hasn't been told. So my dream role would be either playing a Samoan, but telling a Samoan story. Not just Samoan, but, telling our story, a Polynesian story. Written by Polynesian writers, directed by Polynesians, and produced by Polynesians. And I think we're getting there slowly. I think there's a turn now where people are, there are a lot of, especially the guys that, likes of myself and the boys that I came up with, we realised that there's a shortage of people behind the camera, people that make the calls. So, but that's changing. But I feel like we'll get to a point where we'll be able to tell those stories.
Sure. Awesome.
Just one more, because Brad, he's also his dream. Is it alright if I share your dream, Brad? His ultimate dream is to become a director. Do you have an encouragement for Brad, who's behind the scenes, and do you
Brad
got
Busby.
encouragement for him?
Well, what you're doing right now is a stepping stone to where you want to go. I think it's the whole thing that we spoke about. It's actually reaching out, reaching out to those people, because the one thing that I will say though, what is happening right now, there is a lot of brown faces behind the camera, but we also need, because we've been given that opportunity to be behind camera, but we've got to be good. We can't be average, and I've come across some average, right? So my only thing for you, Brad, is just like, it's actually reaching out to the people that are doing it right now, i.e. possibly my bro. There's a lot of directors, Polynesian directors out there, heaps now. But it's just reaching out. It's reaching out, because at the moment they're looking for people to shadow, because we want to encourage more people. We want to encourage more directors, more producers. So for you, it's a good time for you to be doing, or if that's your dream, it's a great time to get into it now, because there's a lot of Polynesian directors out there that you could actually reach out and say, hey, look, I'm wanting to be a director, would I see any possibility of shadowing you, kind of thing? But you also got to sell yourself to those guys as well. And that's my only thing. My only thing is, if we're going to do this,
Do it properly.
Let's do it properly. Yeah. Let's do it properly, because this, I just hate for us to give them that opportunity and not do it, because I know the standard that's needed to create good things, create good shows and stuff. It's just, and I feel like, dare I say it, but this generation as well, we've been given a lot of things, a lot of opportunities, I think. But if you're going to get that opportunity, take it, but just do it properly. Do it properly, because
be ready,
yeah. I just think there's some people out there. There's some people out there that are not up to the standard where they should be. I feel. Man,
seriously, well said, man.
This is why I'm scared to come on, because I just say it. We just need to be better.
Yeah,
we just need to be better.
Cool.
Because there's people, we've come out, we've done this a long time now, and we know the what it is that we know the standard that you need to get to a certain point, and we just can't be half-hearted about it. We just, it also, I feel it would cost. Well, no, forget what I just said. But we just need to be good. We need to be good. If we're given that opportunity, let's do it. Just nail it. Just do it. Do the work. Do the mahi.
That's good.
Yeah.
And do it good and do it properly.
Because everyone's calling out for opportunities, but when the opportunity arises, it's like, oh shucks.
Well, the thing is, right, especially in this industry, if you do the mahi and you do the work, you do it properly, you will fly, seriously. But the other thing is with this, you get caught out as well. You get caught out quite easily if you're crap.
Yeah.
But if because it's a small industry and word gets around, and if word gets around that this person is a hard worker, you'll get hired again. If this person, if this person has just done this, but then they had complaints about that, because that person won't work. It will work, but it will never get to a standard that you need to get out of this country and do it in either Australia or England or, because what tends to happen, all the best crew in this country, they end up doing all the big American stuff. And that's where we want to see brown people be, behind the camera.
That's awesome. Sure, also, even though we're talking about acting and this industry, those lessons are transferable to any industry. And so I'm really encouraged about, okay, I got to make sure I level up in terms of the stuff that I want to pursue and what I'm good at. And when the opportunity arises, and I'm ready for it. I've done my work. We've done, we've put in the reps. So shot also. It's cool.
Because there's a lot at stake, Robbie?
Yeah, there is.
Because, you represent, your culture, your identity, and but more so, you're not just yourself, but your family and the whole nation. And so when you go, like you're saying, you just go there, not giving your best or no excellence in terms of excellence. It's just, it's a shame because regardless of whether we like it or not, there's got to be some stereotypes and think, just the typical islander, that's their mentality, that's what they do.
That is their thing, unfortunately,
So we have to bring it in terms of excellence.
We just work harder. We just have to work. It's the same thing, man. We just have to work a little bit harder than the.
Yeah, I like it. You said that. That's cool. I think a lot of us, regardless of whatever industry you're in, that we need to be the best there is. The best of the best. Cool, man.
Because you fly. You will definitely. I guarantee you, man. You will fly. You fly. You will fly if you do the work and do it properly. Just work hard. Just work hard. Do the extra things that people don't. It's as easy as that whole thing. It's been instilled in us. The foundation of just do the extra bit that they didn't ask you to do. Ask questions. Don't be bellow and kuluku and just I know exactly what you. Yep. Just ask. Just
That's good. Jay.
I only had one more question,
Yep.
and it's sort of tied to this theme of memories and honouring memories, and it was sort of just to touch on your brother. I read about Pooh's Touch Cup, like a game of touch that you guys have been playing, on Saturdays, in honour of him, which I thought was awesome. I read about your tat and what that meant in terms of honouring. So the guy's done his research. I just thought it was awesome, and then just even you sharing with us today about carrying him with your dreams. I just thought that's such an amazing way to honour him in many different facets, and I can tell just from what you've shared that he meant the world to you and to your family. And so my final question was, as a father, as a brother, as a son, what is your fondest memory?
Of him?
Of him as a brother, but also for you as a son to your parents, and then you as a father to your kids.
Okay, my fondest memory of Pua, I got two. One is he always used to say to me that the reason I'm doing acting is because of you. And I hold that. I treasure that. The second, and I'll always remember this, is I used to be a lifeguard in Wellington, and I was taking what we call grommets, so young guys. I was teaching them lifeguard, and Paul was one of them. And we were down the beach, and I was showing, we were training and stuff. And then Paul comes up to me and goes, "Rob, can I go to the toilet?" Goes, "Yeah, hurry up." Goes to the toilet. Half an hour later, I said, "What the hell is this guy?" 35 minutes. Okay, tell the rest of the kids to hang out. And I went to the toilet to see where he was. Going to the toilet. Hear this. Turn around. Saw him going through people's bags. I went, "Sully!" And he went. I said, "What are you doing?" Because nothing. Get out there. Get out there. No. So the whole time I was just like, so we carry on with training, and then after training, sprint time, tells mum and dad, kids are hiding. And he goes, and I go up to him, goes, "So what did you tell mum and dad for?" He goes, "I thought you were." He goes, "I wasn't going to tell them." But, that's it. I love it when I called him for stealing. It's just like, oh man, that's my bro. That's my bro. He was hard case when he was young. He was a rebel. He was a real rebel. My dad, my parents, probably fondest memories was always is what I spoke about before, about them being always supportive, which I feel like I could be stereotyping here, but in terms of Polynesian family, we don't often get that support. So I thank mum and dad for that. They were always supportive of me, of what I wanted to do. I mean, I failed school C, became an actor, gave up what could have possibly been a career in rugby. But they followed, but they were always supportive of my decision. My kids, so many, but I think for me is the fact that they both live in Melbourne now, and the fact that they've flown, they've left the nest. It saddens me, but I know they're on their way. And I told them, and I always remember telling my little girl, I said, because my son does art department, which are the guys that do the sets and stuff, and my daughter is wardrobe. And I always said to I said to my little girl, I said, once you've done that job, get out of here and just, hone your craft and be better. And both of them are doing that now, but then both good humans. They're good humans, but it's them, the fact that they've flown, they've left the nest, but are doing, and I know they'll both be amazing at what they do. So yeah.
So man, it's been a real privilege, Robbie.
Thanks.
It has been, man. Just obviously there's been a lot of laughter, but also a lot of seriousness. And just your journey, sharing your experiences in your journey thus far. And we wish you nothing but the best also.
Oh, thank you.
Nothing but the best. And we really believe, and we're speaking it into existence in terms of when you make it in the States and whatever role it is. So all the best for your endeavours in 2023 as well, but more so in the future. So we look forward to having you at the table again when you win that Oscar. For the Grammy, yeah. So also all the best, and mad love, much love to you and your ainga as well. So
thank you.
Maro love so also.
Thank you very much.
And honestly, just grateful for just being here and sharing your heart. I think the biggest thing that I gained from it was just seeing you be yourself and speak openly about things that a lot of people may find uncomfortable. But I mean, I think to be able to speak on it shows that you've gotten to a point, you've gone through struggles to get to that point to speak on it. And I just applaud the courage to speak those things. And I hope that in some small way, we've been able to give some sort of healing, some sort of, even if it's just literally just a laugh, I hope that we've given you as much as we can for this part of your journey. I know there's plenty more to come, and man, we can't wait to see it.
Yeah, again, also just thanks for being here. Like, we pride ourselves on being the podcast for the people, by the people, and your representation of for the people, or by the people, for whoever's listening, and you've done that for years, you and your crew, and we just want to honor that, and we look forward to just following the journey in the next couple of years. Even because we know you're a go-getter, and even if you don't reach the dream, that your pursuit is the dream for us, and encourages us to keep on pursuing. So thank you for the laughs, thank you for the seriousness, and just thank you for your integrity, like not compromising who you are. There's probably, you could have taken so many easier roads, but just by the sounds of it, like you don't want to compromise who you are, and I just wish you all the best. And I know it's not an easy road ahead, but just know that you got another community out here, out south, and
I really appreciate
you're more than welcome to join us, man.
I appreciate it. No, I've actually I surprised myself about how open I became, kind of thing, and you guys have given me that platform and trusted me, and you've made me feel safe in terms of opening up. So, but yeah, it's actually the first podcast I've done, and to open up in that way, it's just like, okay, cool, I'm just going to let it rip and see how we go. But it's also kind of, I think, the whole thing of it's, I think it's a healing thing as well, it's just being, I like to just puke it out, and then that's it, and move on. But thank you so much. I definitely come back. I'd love to come back.
You're welcome. You're welcome anytime.
I'm proud of you guys too, man. This is awesome.
Oh man,
this is so awesome.
Appreciate it, man.
Well done.
Mano, love. But every guest that comes on, also, we always give them a gift.
What is it?
We always give them a caricature of how we envision that person to be. And so this is on behalf of the Mandate team, a caricature sketch for you, Moso.
Oh, can I look at it now?
Yeah, sure.
Solo, who did this?
It's me, Usi.
It's all Pete.
Are you serious?
Mano.
There you go. I look really handsome. Did you really do this?
Yeah.
That's really impressive.
Thank you. Yeah. So, hey. We appreciate your time also. But is there anyone, before we kind of sign off, is there anyone that you can think of that would be ideal to come on the podcast also? Anyone that did, the tip of your head, like, you think would be perfect?
I think any of the Naked Samoan boys would be amazing. David Farney, you'd have a laugh with Dave Farney. Oscar Kitely, if you can get him, reach out to him. Who else is there? Possibly Victor Roger. Yeah. Victor Roger in terms of from a writer's perspective, Oscar as well. Frankie Adams.
Oh, cool.
Frankie Adams. From To Hear Our Sisters as well.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Or Annabella.
Oh, yeah, yes. Villa's a...
Yeah, Villa,
yeah.
Cool. Yeah,
so awesome names.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Just reach out to those guys. They'll be, they have a great insight as well on what it is that you do.
Yeah.
What we do. Yeah.
Oh, that's
reach
awesome.
Out to those guys.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate your time. Also, hey, we always give our guests the last word. Any last words of encouragement for our men out there?
It's just finding that community, and those people that trust, and where you can be yourself. Really, it's that, and what we spoke about a little before about finding an escape yourself with kites and me, and I think it's important. And me with motorcycles, and you AC/DC, and just it's finding those avenues. It's about just taking care of yourself, really. And the things that you have that you have in your control are those things that riding motorcycles or whatever, and finding those communities. Those are what you can. It's finding things that you have. Those things you have in control. You've got control of that. It's the things that you don't have control with. There's nothing you can do about that. But in terms of for our men out there, it's just finding those avenues where we're at peace, or where someone can listen to you. I think it's highly important, especially now, eh? So, yeah.
For sure, man. Thank you, Robbie, man. Thank you once again. So please don't forget to like and subscribe and comment. To look forward to your wealth of our comments. And as usual, brothers,
refine,
unlock,
and take charge.
Mandate.